In this video, I'm going to tell you 7 ways that you are making other people rich and why you should stop doing that right now. Sometimes as individuals in America, where we have an extremely greedy capitalist economy, as consumers, we tend to forget about our own financial well-being and continue chasing the next big thing year after year after year. And we may think that we can't build any wealth, we can't be millionaires because that's just the way it is. We may think we don't make enough money, we may think that we just don't have enough time. But what if I told you that you had all the money that you needed in order to be a millionaire? You was just giving it away to other people. And I'm not talking about essential expenses, so I'm not going to be telling you to eat beans and rice and to not live in a house just to save up to $1 million. But what I am going to tell you to do is stop paying so much credit card interest. Credit card interest is a silent killer for millions of Americans because it takes so much money out of our pocket, and in most cases you won't be able to get a return on your money if you invested your money higher than what your credit card interest rate is. Let me explain. Most credit cards have an average interest rate of anywhere between 20 and 35%. This means that for every $100 that you borrow on your credit card that you don't pay off, you will have to pay between $20 and $35 on top of the $100 that you borrowed every single year. To put this into perspective, the average return in the stock market is 8%, meaning that if you invested $100, you will only make $8 on your $100 every single year. And in real estate terms, a good return on a yearly basis could be anywhere from 10 to 20%. And this all depends on a number of factors that may be outside of your control. But even if you do find a perfect property paying you 20%, if you had credit card debt eating away at your money, you still will be losing money on an annual basis. So one of the first things I did on my journey to be financially fit was to pay off all of my credit cards in full and to stop carrying a monthly balance every single month, because the interest with credit cards gets charged on the balance that you hold on a month-to-month basis. If I spend $1,000 on my credit card one month but I pay it off at the end of the month, I don't get charged interest on that amount at the end of the year. I only get charged on the balance that is rolling over every single period. So even though I'm sure you may be making a minimum payment, you are actually bleeding more money than necessary, and that is in turn making these billion-dollar corporations even richer just based purely on delayed gratification. It may be a lot easier to pay for that big purchase over a long-term period of time, but if you instead saved up for that purchase in advance and paid for it in cash, you will be saving hundreds if not $1,000s on interest payments from those credit cards that you use. And then the next biggest money waster that I see that may not be everyone's fault is going to be long-term renting. Now this is a little bit of a touchy subject from people because some people just don't see the good in saving up for a down payment on a house and being forced to set roots in a certain area for 30+ years if they have a more free-spirited type lifestyle. However, for someone who thinks that renting is cheaper than owning a house because you don't have to pay that down payment, or you may not have to pay for monthly maintenance costs, or depending on what kind of house or apartment you're renting, you may think that not paying for the maintenance of the facility is saving you money in the long run. Well, I am here to say that the way the math works out, if you rent a place for more than 7 years, you would have actually saved money if you bought a home and paid the mortgage for 7 years rather than renting. Now this comes as a little bit of a catch-22 because you can never fully know if you're going to stay somewhere for 7 years. 7 years is a really long time. And when me and my family bought our last home, we planned on staying in that home for at least 5 years, but we only actually stayed in that house for 2 years because mostly we wanted to move into a new up-and-coming area of the state, and in order to do that we had to leave the house that we previously bought. But instead of selling the house that we bought before, we turned it into a rental property, and instead of buying a house in the new city that we moved to, we decided to actually rent a house for 2 years until we had a better understanding of where exactly we want to live at in the future. It wouldn't have made sense in the current economy to lock in a 7% mortgage for 30 years if we didn't plan on staying in this house for a long term, and for investment reasons it just made more sense to wait and be a little bit more selective on what house we chose to buy. And because I understand both the landlord and the tenant side of renting a house now, I know that by choosing to rent, you are basically paying your landlord's mortgage plus any other expenses and savings that they may incorporate in their market rent. 9 times out of 10, the actual mortgage price could be $500 to $800 or even thousands of dollars lower than what the rent amount is. Obviously that comes with a little bit of a caveat because they did put that down payment in there to get a lower payment. However, that just goes to say that if you are looking to save the most money on a monthly basis and you're trying not to put your money in someone else's pocket every single month, then I recommend looking to buy a house instead of choosing to rent over a long-term period of time. But also, while you're looking to buy a house, you may be subconsciously making someone else rich simply by just being an employee of a company. Now don't get me wrong, I am not saying that being an entrepreneur is the only way to go, but what I'm saying is that if your only goal is to go to work so that you can spend money, so that you can go work so that you can spend money, and you're never actually making any progress for yourself as far as investing in savings, then the only person you are really benefiting with your 2 weeks worth of working hours is going to be your employer, and they're using your productivity on the work site in order to make their bottom line look better. So instead of just choosing to be an employee with your life, life, I would recommend also finding some passions that you can monetize and that not only can keep you motivated, but that may also be able to provide a little bit more free cash flow in your life so that you're not solely depending on one source of income in order to live. A study has shown that most millionaires have 7 sources of income, and if your goal is to be a millionaire one day, then you definitely want to study the characteristics and the habits that millionaires implement in their lives. And then the next way that you're making other people rich is going to be by paying unnecessary insurance premiums. I feel that I'm starting each section that I talk about in this video with defending why I think that this section is a good section to talk about. I don't know, but I will say that most insurances is good insurance. I think that you should have full coverage auto insurance. I think that you should have life insurance, but a lot of the times we get guilt tripped into buying unnecessary insurances that we don't use and that we're just paying a monthly premium on a day-to-day basis. I don't know about you, but one of those insurances could be iPhone insurance or could be Apple Care insurance. Some of the things that we won't use or haven't used, or that if we need to use, we can just save up for, is something that we may be able to use to save some money on a year-to-year basis. Most companies that offer insurances make money by taking the money that you pay in your premiums and investing that money at a rate that is greater than what they have to pay out in the premiums on average each year. What I mean by this is that if a company has 100 people paying $1 a month, the total premiums that they will receive each month is $100, and on a yearly basis it will be $1,200. However, let's say that 5 of those people throughout the year need a $10 payout to pay their insurance coverages. So although the company got $1,200 of insurance premiums, they paid out $50 and are left with $1,150. What that company would do is then invest that $1,150 unless they get a 10% return. So in this scenario, they'll make over $100, and as more people contribute and as the investment starts to compound, they will be making more and more money while you won't be benefiting from your policy unless you take out a claim. And this usually makes companies a lot of money because you tend to forget about the insurance payments altogether because it's not something that you see on a day-to-day basis, just like Go subscriptions are. What Go subscriptions are services that you may have signed up for a free 1-week trial or a 1-month trial, and now that some time has gone by since you used that service, you forget that it's charging you on a month-to-month basis. Most of the time, these services can charge you around $5 a month, $10 a month, maybe even $25 a month. And if you don't notice these services, they are going to be taking money from you from a service that you don't even use. That's why nowadays, whenever I sign up for a free trial on my phone, I go ahead and immediately cancel the auto renewal function, so there's not a chance that I can forget and get automatically charged for a service that I forgot about. If you have $100 worth of Go subscriptions a month, that could be $1,200 a year going towards your future instead of going towards services that you don't even want, need, or care about. And what I feel is one of the scammiest ways that you make other people rich is through buying extended warranties. Now, when I bought my 2022 Tesla Model Y, I came to the dealership with my own financing, and how most car dealerships make money is by in-house finances. And if you don't have in-house finances, they then try to sell you extra perks on top of your car so that they can then make another couple $1,000s. So in my situation, when I went to buy this car with my own financing, everything was going well until it was finally time to sign the papers to get the car. And the sales representative asked me once if I wanted the car warranty. I asked her how much it was, and she said it was around $5,000, maybe a little bit less, that would be added to the loan of the car. I didn't think it was worth it, so I said no. I went through a couple other documents with her, and then she circled back to the extended warranty, asked me if I wanted it again. I said no once again. Went through about 5 more minutes of documents until the general manager of the dealership came through and tried to sell the warranty to me once again. And at that point, I felt that it was a little bit of a predator type situation where they were really trying to push this warranty on me, although I had said I didn't want it twice before. So after the 3rd time, I completely shut it down. And even if I did consider it before, at that point, I didn't really want to consider it. So I say that to you to say that don't let car dealerships intimidate you into getting an extended warranty that you don't want or that you probably won't ever use. I'm sure the fine print in these warranties will exclude most common circumstances so that they won't actually have to fix anything that goes wrong in the first place. Don't quote me on that because I don't know for sure, but please don't waste your money on car warranties when you're buying a car from a dealership. And then the last way that you're making someone else rich is probably the most important thing in this video. So if you stay into this point in the video, then you are really going to get a gem here. And the last way that you're making someone else rich is by not paying yourself first. Every single month, you should have a goal of how much you want to contribute to your own financial well-being before you start to make other people rich. How much do you want to save for yourself? How much do you want to invest? And whatever that money is on a monthly basis, you pay yourself first. You secure your future first, and then you figure out what to do with after that. Once you pay yourself first, if you need an extra $100, $200 in order to make the other ends meet, then you'll be more inclined to find ways to make that money happen, rather than if you're $200 short on your savings, you may just say, oh, well, I can just contribute more next month. So pay yourself first consistently and make that a priority every single month. I am making a video every Monday here on the channel about a Robinhood series where I'm building a $10,000 Robinhood portfolio from scratch. And if you want to see that exact process as well as other videos, then hit that subscribe button, as I do make videos about personal finance, investing, and side hustles. And if you do decide to subscribe, then I will see you in the next one, guys.